The cost of IT in business can be staggering. From hardware and software expenses to services like internet and phone, you don't need to spend a fortune on IT to succeed. If your organization spends more than $500 monthly on any service, or you're considering signing a long-term contract, IT Enabled can help you manage your technology and minimize your costs. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation. IT Enabled, we're here to help.
Well, we are always honored to have our presenting sponsor with IT Enabled come back on each year. And so why don't you introduce yourselves, and then let's talk about the company, and then we'll get into all the nitty-gritty fun stuff that y'all do on a daily basis. So
Fantastic,
Yeah.
Kara. Thank you for having us.
Of course.
I'm Jay Jelinek, General Manager at IT Enabled.
I'm Zach Wilke, Director of Operations.
They're my go-to people. They call and say, hey, something's happened. I'm like, okay. And they're like, we've already fixed it. It's awesome.
That's incredible.
It's a great
It's
partnership.
nice taking care of technology headaches
Yes,
for people.
it's
so
very
it's
great.
nice. Yes.
It's great. So why don't y'all tell the listeners about IT
Yeah.
Enabled and all that you do for the community?
Okay, we're a managed service provider. MSP is the acronym that goes along with it. At the end of the day, we like to take care of small to medium-sized companies that have that IT burden where they've taken it on for themselves and got to a point where it's too much for them to do and they can't focus on the job at hand. So we bring in experts like Zach and the team to handle all that, and I help build the relationship, the brand, the trust, and take care of people's needs here around town and get involved with the chamber and various other activities. But it's been around for about 8 years. Chris Smith, Mitch Foreman are the founders of the company, and we're rolling along and trying new things on the horizon. Pretty neat stuff.
Y'all do everything from phones to computers and everything in between.
Yeah. I mean, really, if it's technology related, we'll touch it.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately we just want to remove friction in technology. It's kind of the goal, to remove friction so you can focus on everything else. So, I mean, I think we've had even the occasional blood pressure monitor come into the office. So now that we try, but we'll pretty much tackle anything that comes in.
Nice.
Everything's connected to the internet now, so
It is.
I'm sure, my light bulbs are connected to the internet, and that's IT now.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
I guess
it
that has
is.
to be managed by somebody. I think we've talked about this every single time you guys have come on the podcast. We appreciate y'all being the sponsor of the podcast, and every time we've had you on, we've talked about this because it's changed so much. It's not AI, but we will talk about that. But managed services is just exploding. Businesses are realizing it. We're seeing it. We did business recently with a fractional CFO company, where you can, outsource managed service your CFO if you're not big enough of a company to have someone who runs that, and it's incredible. So tell me, who that really fits for, as far as small businesses out there.
Well, like I said, small to medium-sized companies are the ones that try to do it on their own.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we outsource HR to a degree. I can see where there's certain companies that aren't big enough to have the staff.
Right.
So it makes sense for us to slide in, help people out, because there may be half a person in the tech need, and we jump in there and help fill that gap. And we've got a standardized model that we work with, and we just like to add clients to that and help them out to where at the end of the day they come in and take care of their job, not have to worry about any technology that's down or out.
Yeah, and I mean, it is growing and changing rapidly. I mean, even I'd say medium to large companies are even buying into this concept simply because instead of hiring a team of 5 that manages your large company and they are only good at those 5 things, you can bring on a team of people for the price of one person.
Right.
That now you have a team of experts, and so it just becomes an economical solution. We've begun to do a lot of augmenting, so companies that have their own organizational IT will just assist or handle harder issues, or we're kind of working with companies, not just, hey, we'll handle everything. If you're a larger company that you have your own team, but you just need that extra safety net of, we would like to have a background or a backup, then that we've been doing that too. And it's just because it just does not, it's not costing a ton of money to be able to bring in an entire team of people. Mm-hmm. And that's what we love to be able to provide is to be able to provide.
And we can scale up and scale down based on the client need and whatever. So it's pretty neat. Plus, we can have relationships with SFA, get internships to come in, and hopefully the ones that are around here going to school there that want to stay, they have an opportunity to stay with us and grow and get experience. So it's pretty neat.
The scale up, scale down thing is extremely underrated. That people don't understand how important that is, because as a business, a small business, to scale up, scale down, an IT department, so you got to go hire that person, employ that person, put them on payroll, set them up in an office, all of that. And if you got to scale that up, it's hard. If you got to scale it down, it's even harder.
You're exactly right. I mean, and the IT world specifically, we kind of joke that an idle IT person is a dangerous tool because then they'll find things to fix, right. And it's like, stop touching things.
Yeah.
And so if you have someone on staff, hopefully you want to keep them busy, but it is a little hard if your projects are in a good spot. Man, that's awesome if you're not busy, but sometimes that's a hard role to keep busy once things are rolling. And so to be able to scale up and down for customers that, hey, now the broken things are working, let's look at proactive things. And so that's a really cool feature to be able to provide to businesses. In the same way that you would, up or lower your subscription to anything. You can just kind of as you need it.
That's great.
And we try to be standardized enough that it makes it a lot easier for the team to respond to each customer as we move forward. So,
what are some of the things that you see customers, both large and small? What are the major technology pieces that they're missing, or what are the mistakes that they're doing?
Yeah, I mean, we see quite a bit of issues or bad decisions that come in, mostly around spending money and asking questions later, right? So if there's a problem, companies will let's throw money at this problem and see if we can fix it. And they will spend a lot of money on really fancy solutions that aren't getting to the root of the problem. Okay. And the goal that, especially in the operations side that I'm working my team, is don't fix symptoms, fix problems, right? Mm-hmm. And so when we bring companies on, they're like, hey, we've had this issue for a year. We can help find the root of the problem and save you money by not having to buy all these solutions. And a lot of times if people don't know exactly what to do or what to dig into, they'll just hire someone to do it, and you'll spend a lot of money with that wasn't necessarily needed to spend, right? And then the other thing is ultimately not putting priority toward the technical resources. Okay. So IT is kind of a boring term, right? But everything nowadays is connected. We just talked about that. Everything is connected. The printer, the label printer, the light bulb, everything is connected. And so it doesn't matter if you're one person or 1,000 people. You're a tech company to a degree, and just thinking, oh, this is just like a water bill, right? It's just something I pay every month that you don't really think about. Right. You got to be proactive in 2026.
Well, and I will say, before we came on with y'all as a server, I mean, y'all take care of our phones. We only had one line, so when the phones went dead, we were dead in the water, and it never crossed our mind, we'll get a second line that's your backup. And so, I mean, that was the first thing y'all did when you came in, was say, what's the number one problem you have? When the phones go dead, we're out. And so y'all took care of that immediately. When we never even know when we switch over from one line to the other. So it's simple things that just keep a business up and going.
Yeah. What's that nagging problem that bothers you every day? That's what we try to solve and get a good solution for you, so you don't have to worry about that headache anymore. Let's focus on bigger projects you have that are more meaningful. So
yeah, and we want to build resiliency, right? So and I tell customers this all the time. It's not if things are going to break. Things will break. I mean, it's finite technology. It's the way it works. But if hopefully we want to build things and structure things in a way that you never even notice, right? Because things fail over and they do backups. And so, I mean, it's 2026. There's no reason we can have resiliency built into our technical infrastructure that if something does happen, that hopefully you can be back up and running as fast as possible.
That's right.
You don't realize how debilitating that is. Like the phone out, and you're like, oh, people can't call us. They can't do that.
They can't do that. We couldn't go on the internet. We couldn't print. We couldn't do anything.
Yep, happened to our office. It's like I can't upload anything. I was like, the week's like, wow, we need the internet bad. This is really
time's
tough.
money for everybody.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So the longer you're down, the less it impacts you huge.
Yeah,
huge.
So we see this. I've been more on the managed service marketing side, but the kind of the mantra that we run into a lot is we'll go into these companies that aren't big enough to do their own advertising and marketing, and they typically pile it on the youngest person in the office. It's like, oh, social media and marketing, you're going to be our new social media girl. It's your job now to do all of our Facebook posts. That happens in the IT world as well, right? They have the one guy who's good with computers or somebody that they know. Tell us about that relationship and why that can be tough.
Yeah. I see that a lot, especially as we bring new customers on who have kind of arrived at that point where like, hey, we just don't have the time or energy to put into doing this ourselves. And so first thing is like when we bring those people on, and there's always been that one point person, maybe they put solutions in place that was really creative and it worked well enough, but it's not standard. And so we want to make sure we bring customers into a place of simplicity and standardization, right? So that is the biggest thing I work with my team on, is we want simple solutions, because the more complicated things get, the more trickle down from that complexity has. And so usually what we're doing when we go to these organizations is looking at a lot of small tools and solutions, fixing a lot of small problems, and just saying, hey, how can we consolidate this into one solid solution? And that's the big thing when company owners or customers are just trying to survive the day. They just need to get invoices out. They don't have time to handle technology, so they just, oh, it's $3 a month for this thing, right? They buy that thing, and then you bring them on. You're like, all right, tell me about your apps. Well, we have 30 of them,
Right.
and this person uses that one. This person uses that one, and so really, a lot of our, especially as we're onboarding customers, our work is not as technical. It's really just auditing what all do you use, and how do we simplify this. And it becomes more process at that point that just happens to touch technology.
We almost had that exact same conversation this morning with a prospect, and they've been doing something for the same way for 30 years, and they wanted something better. So along with us, the relationship, you have that skill set where we stay on top of things, and we try to see those opportunities for that client to say, this is a better way of doing things. And it's fun to see that because they're like, oh, wow, thank goodness you all are around so we can have that conversation. Because they try to do it on their own, and they can't. Some people are wanting to retire in 2 or 3 years, and they don't want to keep doing the same thing they've been doing. They want to be able to kick back and enjoy the rest of the ride, so to say. So that's neat to see that for us. That's part of
you
us.
help streamline the process.
I say we serve others.
Yeah.
And I tell people, thank you. We appreciate serving you at the end of the day because that's what we do.
That's great. So let's talk about a modern IT budget.
Yeah.
We're in 2026. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, that's a good question. If you were to ask 100 businesses what their IT budget was, you're going to get a lot of different answers, like what the percentage spend.
Yeah.
And so it's also different approaches, like what do you classify as IT, right? Is your software subscriptions? Ultimately, it's approached two ways. Do you just want to spend money once a year at the beginning of the year and not think about it the rest of the year, or do you want to spend money on a monthly basis? Everything has become more of a monthly rate now. But ultimately, it has to be a percentage of your spend. Like you can't say, all right, at the end of the year, we'll think about IT with whatever to get a tax break. You know what I mean? Like, we'll buy new computers when we think about it. You have to be proactive with these things. You have to budget. It has to be a small percentage of your operations budget because while what you consider as a small portion of your budget is 90% of your workflow, right? So technology is handling your business. Doesn't matter if you're a plumber or a library or whatever. Technology is running your business, and too many customers come saying, hey, I've only like 2% of my budget's for technology. Here's how much you have to spend. It's like, well, we're not asking you to spend a ton of money, but we got to think through this logically. If you lost this technology today, how much money would you lose?
Yeah.
And so it's not always just a flat number, but we've got to have a planned percentage of our budget toward this, because if we lose this technology, we lose money. Like every day, every hour, we're losing money. And so, and the other side of that, I tell customers is, you often look at your employee count as your business size. That in 2026, that's just not the size of business. It's how much data do you hold, right? Everybody's got data. It could be how many offices you clean. It could be anything. How big is your data set? That it dictates kind of how you're spending on IT, right? If you're a one-person shop doing some sort of middle person for oil and gas, you may have a 1,000-person client list. That's a decent-sized client list. Now you're a larger company in terms of data size, and so having that self-awareness of your company to say, okay, I may be one person, but I've got a lot of technical needs here. That is the first step toward realizing IT is should not be an afterthought. Technology should not be an afterthought. It's got to be planned in the same way you would plan any type of move. And what we really try to do is help our customers realize technology and thinking through tech problems and tech solutions and all these things, and IT can be a part of reaching your goals. It doesn't have to be a liability. It can be an asset. So thinking through this in a process that helps you reach your goals. What would make my job easier? What would make my job better? Trying not to just make it a
if we're doing our job right, we're going to be being proactive and not reactive with our customers. So we should be providing them with enough technology information to make the decisions moving forward of how many PCs do you need to replace? What do I need to look at adding to our fleet? Various things like that. So that's part of the skill set that we provide as well. We give them that guidance. At the end of the day, it's their decision, but we're going to be there to give them the best opinion.
The flip side of that is beyond just spending money on IT is also saving money. So when we work with customers on their IT budget, the first thing we do is, hey, how can we cut bills? And it usually relates down how much you're spending on internet, how much you're spending on existing phones. And you can cut hundreds or thousands of dollars a month by just auditing these and finding better solutions. Right. And so there is it's a flip of the coin. Where do we spend our money better, and how can we save money?
And to carry that one step further, there's processes that a lot of people have been using for years. Manual processes. Well, we can provide solutions and recommendations to augment and spearhead some of that to increase that productivity and share and save time. One less person maybe a week doing a certain function within an office. It's that kind of stuff that's really another labor savings as well, to Zach's point.
That's right.
Very cool. So how do you know if your IT in your organization is healthy? Like, is there a way to tell?
Yeah, so that's a hard question simply because there's often a lot of sweat and tears put into what makes the business run. And so when I go into an organization, I look at their IT infrastructure or their technology infrastructure, I'm looking at, do we know what's going on? Do we know what exists where, right? If we were to ask, hey, what are you spending on internet? Something simple like that. Somebody like, oh, I don't know, right? And so ultimately it's awareness of what we're spending on and what we have. It's overall just cleanliness. That's silly, but we take a lot of pride in the cleanliness of that closet no one goes to. That we think it's awesome. And so if we go to a client,
I just know when the door is open, I'm like, oh God, what's happened in the closet?
Yeah. So like if we go to a customer we've had forever, and through the many years things have just gotten busy and dirty, it's like, all right, we need to schedule a cleanup, because it's silly, but the more clean something is, the more organized it is. And so we try to think about those things. And so and then ultimately it's going to be security. So if we fix things quickly, we're not always thinking through things securely. And so is that this is more technical, but is that server available to outside the internet in a way it shouldn't be, right? Things of that nature that are a little bit more technical, where we like to come in and provide, I like to call it the nerdiness, to where customers don't have to think through the nerdiness. But there's a lot of ways that we want to come in and just simplify. That's the biggest thing. Simplify. It does not matter how big your company is. Simplifying is what we try to do.
And try to get to the root cause of what the problems are. Instead of fighting the problems all the time, let's see what the root cause is. And I often hear Zach and the team talking about that. What's causing that? Let's get rid of this problem one way or the other for the entire customer.
And it's a silly problem, because
group.
I joke that I want our customers in a perfect world never have problems. Now that would bite us because, right, we kind of solve problems. That's kind of our business model. But we want to help customers do what we call the fun stuff, which is, how can we make your job easier? How can we provide you better data? How can we provide you better visibility? And we are under the impression problems get in the way of that. And so we work problems first, but we want to get the problems completely removed, if at all possible. That in a perfect world that would exist, but so that we can focus on what we call the fun stuff, which is, how do we make your life easier with technology?
Well, I'm just telling you, y'all have done wonders, not only for us at the chamber, but I know there's so many other clients that have said, we use IT enabled. They're great. They take care of us. So if you're looking for someone to take care of all of your IT needs, to talk to you about AI and to fill you in on all the different changes that are happening daily, give Zach and Jay and the team a call. They'll take great care of you.
Absolutely.
We love it.
Thank you.
If you want to know how to contact them, the commercials at the beginning of this podcast. So it has everything that you need to know, as well as in the show notes of this. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen. It's always great talking with you.
Thank you for being our continued sponsor.
Glad to do it.
Sure appreciate you.
Glad to do it.
Thank you so much for listening to the podcast again this week. Share this episode with somebody who might have a rat's nest looking situation in their business with cables that need to be managed and cleaned up and taken care of. But thanks so much for listening. We'll see you again next week.